What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. Always proud to mention their name and still very proud to have them on board as our presenting sponsor. There's been a couple of times that I've interacted with executive coaches, business coaches, not too many. I see them on the road. I engage them in the different conferences that I go to. Oftentimes they're presenting at an adjacent session that is the one that I'm presenting in, or they'll come on before or after me. And I'm always curious about how they do their work. And in fact, I've always wondered if it's not something that my little business shouldn't adopt from time to time. It seems like I can engage some people, ask them some questions based on my expertise, and they can quickly move forward in their own thinking about their own workplace. And I've often wondered if this isn't something that I should pursue as a new stream of revenue for my company. In the past year, I have stuck my toe in those waters, and I'm happy to say that I've had some quick success with it. However, it's still not something that's on my website or that I've printed anything about. It's been more of a reaction to a request, and it's been pretty good. But I'm always somewhat skeptical of these people, frankly. What is their background? What is their expertise? Is the old adage, if you can't do it, then teach it? I remember hearing that a long time ago of people that aren't really good at their job end up becoming teachers of their job. They can't execute for the customer. They tell other people how to execute. And for that reason, I've often been hesitant to jump into that field, thinking that, well, if I'm good enough, I should be able to do it myself. If I'm good enough, I don't need to teach people how to do it in order to generate revenue from it. If I'm good enough, I can do it myself and generate my own revenue. However, in a conversation with a friend of mine locally, we have seen, and he and I discussed this, we've seen such an explosion in the marketplace of workplace, of sales, of executive coaches. There didn't nearly used to be this many of them out there. And their expertise for as many of them has to be somewhat diluted considering the numbers of them are out there. You can hear from my tone, perhaps. You can hear from my attitude that I'm somewhat cynical. Now, I'll flip that coin a little bit. Last week and the week before, I had conversations with people who are titled as coaches or mentors, etc. And they were interested enough to ask me about my business, and I shared some ideas with them that I'm developing about things down the road. And in a very short amount of time, they asked me some questions, and it brought me to a whole new, different understanding of a new idea that I'm embarking on. In other words, I've always been cynical of these coaches. I've always wondered what their value is. At the same time, I have had some great benefit from being coached, not in even a formal environment, but in a haphazard kind of brushing against somebody and having a quick conversation in the back of the room after a presentation, or even after one of these radio shows that we recorded not long ago, having a conversation with them and really, really benefiting from it from a short amount of time. So I'm cynical, yet I am the beneficiary of their coaching. Today, we're going to meet a local executive coach, a local sales coach. We're going to talk to him about what it is that he does. We're going to talk to him about how he's learned his expertise. We're going to talk to him about how he finds business. And if there are other people like me who are a little cynical of their profession and how he overcomes that. And most importantly, what are the results he produces for his clients, his customers, and what can we learn from him? Are there ideas that we can still steal and bring to our own workplace? We will have JBrinson on the line when we get back from Mobile, Alabama. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston, brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College, and we will be right back.
Think about how people really see you. The kid at the drive-thru just sees a coffee drinker.
Please pull forward.
Your local barista sees the person who loves a smiley face in their latte.
See you next time.
It's kind of the same way with insurance. Other insurance companies just see a customer, but a State Farm agent sees more. They see you as a neighbor. Your State Farm agent is here to get to know who you really are, so they can help life go right.
Call me, State Farm agent Allison Horner, in Mobile at 666-1616.
Hey, this is Cam Marston. If sales in your business comes from prospecting to create leads that lead to sales, I want to tell you about Sales Up Coach, a cloud-based system created for the next generation of sales professional. There's a big difference between being busy and being effective. And Sales Up Coach helps salespeople who rely on prospecting uncover which of their activities produce the greatest results. Over time, Sales Up Coach's machine learning hones salespeople's schedule to focus only on activities that generate the most bang for the buck. Your sales team interacts with Sales Up Coach on their smartphone, and sales managers can instantly generate reports to see who is on goal and who may need additional support. Go online and take a look at this new and very powerful sales tool. Go to salesupcoach.com/Cam Marston. Watch your sales team's productivity change.
Is your business growing? Does your existing metal building need an update? Expansion? New roof? With almost 20 years of experience, Mosley Building Systems is the leading metal building contractor along the Gulf Coast. We are your local design build experts. From expansion to new construction or repairs, we can guide you through all aspects of your project. Mosley Building Systems works with each client to fulfill their vision. For more information, go to mosleybuildingsystems.com.
This is Cam Marston. You're listening to What's Working. What's Working is brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. And on the line, I've got an old friend, Brinson. Jeff and I go way back. And it's wonderful that he and I have reconnected for the purpose of this show, just to talk to an old friend again. Jeff, thank you for your time. Welcome to What's Working.
Cam, thank you. It is my pleasure. It is a thrill to be on with you.
Well, let me give I appreciate that. Let's give folks, I'm going to read something from your bio here, your introduction, and give a setting, if you will, for who you are and what it is you do. Jeff is a part of the multi-million-dollar sales training and coaching division of the 160-year-old Southwestern Company, lives in Mobile, proud father of 2 boys, has a bachelor's from the University of South Alabama, and for the past 20 years, Jeff has been a sales manager for 2 Fortune 500 companies, as well as a top producer for both. Both as an individual and sales manager, he's ranked number 1 in the Southeast for both companies. Jeff, it's a heck of a resume. It's a heck of a thing that you've done here. Tell us a little bit about your work and what you do for your customers.
Well, Cam, as you mentioned in the profile, and for that, thank you. The Southwestern Company is headquartered in Nashville, Tennessee, and the coaching division that I and about 100 others coaches work underneath this umbrella is called the family of companies with Southwestern. And, you know, it's interesting, going back 160 years, as you mentioned, Southwestern originated as the original door-to-door Bible-selling company to the soldiers after the Civil War. Can you believe it?
No, I had no idea. That's fascinating.
It is, and at that time in our country's history, if you think about it, Nashville, Tennessee would have been the southwestern part of the entire country.
Sure.
Thus the name. So Bible from door-to-door Bible sales in 1860 to today, Southwestern has been selling books door-to-door for a college internship program every summer, which I did at the University of Alabama with an entrepreneurial and internship program that Southwestern still does to this day. They send college students out to different parts of the country to sell books door to door, and it really is a build your own business formula of entrepreneurship for young 18, 19, 20, and 21-year-old kids. Well, fast forward, I did that in 1989 as a college student at the University of Alabama, and they've taken all of that content and all of that material and bottled it up, and they've put it into a fantastic one-on-one sales coaching program and one-on-one leadership growth and development program. And that's what we do today, Cam, is we work with and meet business owners, sales managers, business leaders, and we develop relationships with them, and we work with their folks, their employees, one-on-one through our coaching program.
You know, I've had those guys come to my door from time to time selling the books, and my heart goes out to them. It's hard work, and It's lots of rejection. You've got to be very, very motivated to get up and do this on a regular basis. It's got to be a special person that one chooses to do it, and an extraordinarily special person that succeeds in it. So is that what you teach? What it takes to do this type of work, and you've bottled this up and now you're bringing it to different types of sales forces?
Cam, absolutely. It's all about the human spirit. I would venture to say when I was a junior in college, I'm not sure I knew the full extent or the full magnitude of what I was getting myself into. I just needed a summer job, and I knew my dad was going to put me to work for that summer in 1989 anyway, so what the heck? Why not try something with a group of other college kids? Well, the next thing I know, I'm off in East Texas selling books door to door to chicken farmers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like the perfect beginning for a great joke.
The perfect beginning of a great joke.
Yeah.
And the joke was on us, but you know what? Out of thousands of kids who go out and do that, what I learned through the years, I always thought about it was a book selling job, but really it's not. That's not what Southwestern has done for 160 years. What it is, it's a character building program. It's a personal program that it doesn't matter because there's so many politicians, astronauts, there's CEOs of companies, there's people in our own community. Jeff Sessions, Roger McConnell, Forrest Latta. I could go on and on of the local people in our very own community who could be listening to this show who actually sold books door to door just like I did, and who knocked on your door. That's their origins of their I guess their lifelong careers is dealing with rejection and dealing with persistence and not quitting. So it really is a character building program, Cam, and I think that serves us very well as we grow into adulthood and as we grow into professionals, doesn't it?
So I would certainly agree. And having the support system of the Southwestern Company behind you and their methodologies would seem to be very valuable. Let me ask you one more thing before we move on to what you're doing today. I'm still very curious about the door-to-door work in East Texas. When you applied for this job, you're in Tuscaloosa. Do they intentionally get you out of your home comfort zone and send you to a place where you know no one? Is that how you ended up in East Texas?
Yes, there's definitely psychology behind what Southwestern has perfected through the years, because they know that if they can get a group of college kids on campuses all around the country, and you know what, one of our largest contingencies to this day are the European students. There's a large European contingency of very high motor, very smart foreign exchange students who will earn a living, and they pay for their entire college by these 12-week summer jobs. So yes, we train in Nashville, Tennessee, and at the end of that week, that's where they let us know, or let the students know, where they're going to be working for 12 weeks for the summer. And you're on your own to start your own business, but you do have a network around you. And the purpose of getting folks out of their backyard or close to home or close to where the boyfriends and girlfriends and where mama and daddy is so that the odds of success are going to be greater if you're sort of out there on that limb and there's no turning back. But people do quit, and quitting never really gets us anywhere in life. Yeah.
Now let's move into that. I think you're onto something. Character. You teach character. You step into let's assume I'm a sales manager or I own a small business and I've got a team of 8 or 10 salespeople that sell for me across let's say the Mobile region into the Panhandle, the listener area here. How do you begin to determine whether the people that you're now looking at, you're giving a presentation, you're doing one-on-one coaching, how do you measure character and whether you need to build it in them or not, or if it's something else that you're doing for them?
Well, recruiting and hiring and training and motivating salespeople or new employees, that's the number one struggle, and that's the number one reward that business owners and leaders in companies face today. Okay, there's a reward to that when we get it right, but then there's a huge struggle because we know the cost of turnover is so great, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so recruiting, hiring, training, motivating. Well, guess what? Southwestern's been doing that for 160 years with college kids, much less grown men and women with college degrees. So we know that we can help business owners in that regard, and we also know the pain and the struggle that's associated with that. So we can tap into the emotions of leaders just in those areas alone. But then when we meet with groups of salespeople and leadership groups within these companies, and we get invited in as a guest speaker, Cam.
Yeah.
In other words, our initial introduction to leaders, and of course, it's going to be by referral. Okay, we're going to get referred into one office and from one leader to another. CEOs sort of run with other CEOs. Leaders of companies have a tendency to associate in their circles of influence with one another. So we've perfected and we've mastered, and we want to coach and help them learn the art of really getting referrals and building a self-generating never-ending lead system internally, and that alone helps businesses.
Yeah,
okay?
So you're asking questions. You're going in asking questions to learn who they run with?
Yeah, we're teaching them, and I love this phrase, when it comes to building, self-generating their own leads, and when it comes to building their business development, I love the phrase that the riches are in the niches.
Let's pick that up when we come back. We got to take a break. This is Cam Marston. You're listening to What's Working. It's brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. I'm on the line with JBrinson with Southwestern Consulting. We'll be right back. JBrinson coaches professionals. He helps them reach their potential, be it in sales or management. We're never too old or too experienced to learn from someone else. It's valuable. It makes a difference. Coastal Alabama Community College offers a variety of courses through their Center for Professional Development, and they have something for everyone. For those interested in IT, there's the Cisco Networking Academy course. Have an entrepreneurial itch? Take the Core 4 business course. They also offer Medicare Made Easy and Financial Survival for Retirement courses. Looking to enhance a hobby? Check out their ceramics and photography courses. For more information about programs near you, visit Coastal Alabama Community College's website, coastalalabama.edu, or visit any one of their campuses.
The Community Foundation of South Alabama links donors to philanthropy, builds networks across 8 counties, and builds dreams for those in need. Through our donors' gifts, we make investments that enhance our community via initiatives with broad impact. Working with you, we build communities. Contact us at communityfoundationsa.org.
This is Coastal Alabama Community College, where education is key and where there is opportunity in every classroom. We serve 9 counties with one common goal. Here, we come together to create a brighter future. Together, we inspire. Together, we learn. Together, we succeed. This is Coastal Alabama Community College. All together.
I'm Matt Armbruster with Ransom Ministries. We help people in our community that most others have given up on. Please donate your unwanted electronics to Ransom Recycling. We teach life skills, job readiness, and job creation through our electronic recycling program. We take anything with a cord. Find us at ransomministries.com, or you can call us at 251-751-0044.
This is Cam Marston. You're listening to What's Working, brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. JBrinson is on the line with me. And Jeff, just prior to the break, the riches are in the niches. Did I get that right?
You did, Cam.
So you've got to expand on that with me. There's certainly people listening going, what does that mean and how do I benefit from this?
It is amazing. You know, you asked me the question prior to the break. Well, how do we, tap into some of these salespeople, and how do we tap into some of these groups to get them interested in what we do and how we do what we do? Well, from the leadership perspective, it really is recruiting, hiring, training, and motivating, getting results out of other people, right? But for salespeople themselves, their biggest struggle, their biggest pain is talking to somebody, is working with a prospect. And so prospecting is the number one reason, salespeople and sales organizations fail or struggle or get depressed. And so by asking questions, we ask them, hey, how many people have how many referrals have you gotten today? Or how many referrals did you get all last week?
Yeah, so referrals are golden. Referrals are a warm lead.
It's crickets. People don't. And so there we insert a phrase, well, has anyone ever heard the fact that the riches are in the niches? And it causes a little laughter, but it's the truth, isn't it, Cam?
Well, I'm interested to see how you're exploiting these niches. I want to hear how you define the niches. Okay,
so for me, we often ask the question, hey, if you're so good in sales or if you're a great leader, how come you're not in business? Well, we are. We as coaches with Southwestern Consulting, with Southwestern Coaching, we have embraced the practitioner's model. So by coaching you as a leader or coaching and working with individual salespeople, well, we are in the trenches with you, with them. So we are modeling everything that we coach on. We're just not coaching from an ivory tower, if you will.
So you're out there, you're slugging it out. Are you shoulder to shoulder with these salespeople, making calls with them?
Yes, we're slugging it out. And so in our workshops, when we get invited into a company, we get invited in as a guest speaker, and it's complimentary. It's a free offering because we want to deliver a ton of value and we want to build trust. And by building value, we will help them real time in the workshop learn what is the riches and the niches. What does that mean? How can I self-generate my own leads? And for me, I'll just share with you, Cam, and your audience, for JBrinson, here's my niche. I want to be introduced to around the country from coast to coast, anywhere in the country. I want to be introduced to the small business owner that loves sports and also likes to go to church. So in other words, a faith-based business owner who likes sports, that is a pretty well-defined niche for JBrinson.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not talking about, I want someone who's 20 to 50 years old or someone. No, those are broad terms that financial planners look for. Those are broad terms that people in real estate. Let's get more specific. We believe that it's more terrific to be specific.
I'm loving this. The riches are in the niches. It's terrific to be specific. There's a lot of takeaway. There's a lot of little gems in here that'll get lodged in your head and keep rattling around. So your target client isn't determined by size of business or industry that they're in or number of salespeople or demographics like you referenced a moment ago. It's much broad. It's a business owner, faith-based business owner with a sports hobby.
And the reason that's so important, and I'll hit on those other things because those other analytics or dynamics are important, Cam. But the reason for me, I've chosen a faith-based business owner who likes sports is because you know what, Cam, if that person is you or someone in your listening audience, we can talk about business all day long. We can talk about sports all day long. And you know what? I would love to have a spiritual or a faith-based conversation and we don't even have to do business together, but we could be friends, couldn't we?
Sure.
And the conversation, so basically it's all about relationships. It's all about building relationships with people that you enjoy doing business with. In business, we have a choice to pick and choose who we do business with. We don't have to be at the mercy. And when leaders and when individual salespeople learn that, it's a game changer.
So let's go back to me. I'm a sales manager. I got 5 people, hypothetically. They're spread out across the region. You're going to come in and look at my sales team and say, who do you want to do business with? Who do you enjoy talking to? Who do you have? What type of person do you have a lot in common with? And you're going to give them this instruction and then ask them to go find those people?
Absolutely. We're going to help them create a well-defined niche. And the reason the riches are in the niches is so powerful because if we think about it, the general practitioner in medicine, okay?
Yeah.
The the medical doctor who sort of does it all, that's great. But you know what? The brain surgeon or the heart surgeon or that oncologist, they have a specific niche, don't they?
They do.
And in the world of medicine, it's no secret, they make the most money.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
No doubt about it. And then let's take law. You know, being a specific, focused attorney on corporate law or, you know, whatever international law. When it's specific, life gets simple, it's focused, and we're not scattered. We're not too diverse. That's where the individual salespeople and companies sort of get sideways, is when they get scattered. That creates uncertainty, it creates confusion, and then that creates procrastination.
Let's reset the program. This is Cam Marston. You're listening to What's Working. On the line is Jeff Brinson. Jeff is a professional sales coach with Southwestern Consulting. Jeff, when you tell these people this type of thing, and explain to them the more specific you can be, the riches are in the niches. My sense is they light up with excitement because suddenly sales is not about trying to convince some angry group or individual to buy something they don't need. Suddenly it's a whole different, more motivational spin. Is that right?
Heck yes, Cam. People fight for years and years and years trying to overcome their own personal battles and struggles, and we try to force ourselves to fake it till we make it. You ever heard that before?
Oh, sure.
Oh, fake it till you make it. Well, you know, that just doesn't – that's not sustainable. I mean, that's maybe okay for a time period, for a little bit, but eventually the world around us will sort of figure things out. They'll say, oh, yeah, they're faking it. And so therefore – we realize this, and then that's when people get really upset and depressed, and that's what causes a lot of problems. So yeah, we really want to come in. We have something in our program, Cam, that we refer to as the success triangle, the habits triangle, if you will. And in this triangle, you know, if you envision one side, the bottom, and the other side of this triangle, one of the side talks about skills. It talks about skills, and we must learn to improve and perfect skills in our personal lives and our businesses. Just like Dr. Covey said 30 years ago, we must sharpen the saw.
Yeah, boy, you hear that a lot. Still hear that a lot, and I agree.
And I agree. It never ends. I had a local 30-year realtor recently just tell me that and very successful, by the way. She says, you know what, when you mentioned that, I realized that what I have been doing worked in the 80s and 90s, and it still works today. However, there's a lot of new technology. There's a lot of new things. There's a whole lot of generations of younger people coming into the workplace. I need to learn. I need to improve my own skill set.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another, the bottom portion of this success triangle or habits triangle is it talks about sales motivation, not self-motivation. Sales motivation.
All right, you got to tell me what that is. And my suspicion is that there's a lot of sales managers who may be listening now who say, "Man, if my sales force were just a bit more motivated, the riches are out there, but I'm having a hard time motivating the sales force." What is sales motivation?
Sales motivation, bottom line, for the folks listening and for you and I together, Cam, is nothing happens until somebody buys something.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I've heard that out of IBM. That's some sort of IBM statement years and years and years ago. But nothing happens till somebody buys something. I agree.
Yes. Yeah, nothing happens until we get a signature on the bottom line, or nothing happens until we get that form of payment. Correct?
Yeah.
And so sales motivation is all about getting to the closure of the business of yes or no. Yes is okay, but you know what? No is okay too. And so sales motivation is just that, because a lot of people are self-motivated, and we want to recruit and hire people, and we ask these phrases, and there's nothing wrong with it, but are you a self-motivated person? Well, guess what, Cam? You and I live in the part of the country, in the southeastern part of the country, and we may be biased to college football here in the state of Alabama. And you know what? Come 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning in the fall to midnight on a Saturday night in the fall, I am very self-motivated to watch college football all day long.
Yeah, I bet you are.
And I don't need you or anybody in this listening audience motivating me to partake in that activity on a Saturday in the fall, do we?
You do not need to be prompted to exhibit that behavior.
And so people go on mission trips around the world. People write books. People do what they are motivated to do. The problem is when people are on your payroll, when people are trying to go accomplish their job and their task at hand, they lack this motivation. So I've had so many leaders say, come on in. If we can learn to be consistent and get off this roller coaster ride of life that all of us are on, and our salespeople, we're up 1 month, we're down 1 month. It is awful.
Yeah.
If we can just learn consistency, and if you guys can come in, if one-on-one coaching, if having another human being to help us be a little bit more consistent, that would be a game changer.
Do you ever look at somebody and say, listen, you don't need to be in sales. You need to do something else. This is not your gig. Or do you feel like everybody's a born salesman when they find the right motivation?
Hey, listen here, Kim. No one is born to, quote, be a salesperson, but we also believe that everyone in the world is a salesperson. Matter of fact, one of the local chambers I spoke to last year, that was the very topic that filled the room with a lot of business owners, and the topic was everyone is a salesperson. And the truth is if someone is married, guess what? They transferred emotion to another human being and they got married. That was a sales transaction, if you will.
Yes, I think
when professors on college campuses all across the world are delivering a message to a group of students, they're transferring emotion. They're getting them to buy into that truth or not. That's a sense of sales in that regard too, isn't it?
So your belief is once we find our passion, we're all a salesperson.
Everybody's a salesperson. Everybody in the world is a salesperson. If you have a friend in life, you sold somebody on why you're a good friend.
Yeah, and sometimes you sell them and you wish you hadn't.
And therefore we have the freedom to hire and fire at will, don't we?
Well, that's where we should go next. Let's take our next break and let's talk about how to staff up, what type of questions to ask, what to look for if I'm trying to staff up. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. It's brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. On the line with me is Jeff Brinson with Southwestern Consulting. We'll be right back after these messages.
Think about your home. What do you see? Do you just see 2 stories or the stories of your toddler's first steps? Now think about your car. Do you see an odometer reading or your kids reading in the back seat? Other insurance companies just see a house. They just see a car. But a State Farm agent sees what your home and your car really mean to you. So why not give them the protection they deserve?
You can reach me, State Farm agent Allison Horner, at AllisonHorner.com.
Investing, connecting, leading, providing. The Community Foundation of South Alabama brings together philanthropic assets to make Southwest Alabama a better place to live, work, and play. We link donors to philanthropy. Working with you, we build communities. Contact us at communityfoundationsa.org.
I'm Matt Armbruster with Ransom Ministries. We help people in our community that most others have given up on. Please donate your unwanted electronics to Ransom Recycling. We teach life skills, job readiness, and job creation through our electronic recycling program. We take anything with a cord. Find us at ransomministries.com or you can call us at 251-751-0044.
I got Jeff Brinson on the line. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. This is brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. Jeff Brinson is a professional sales coach with Southwestern Consulting. Jeff, just prior to the break, we were talking about maybe how to find these people. Now, there's certainly somebody listening that says, man, I could use a better, I could replace. Perhaps I should replace and swap out some of my salespeople. When you're advising business leaders on how to find people to take on sales roles within their organizations, Are there questions you encourage them to ask? Are there places you encourage them to seek salespeople? Tell me what your philosophy is on finding, grooming, recruiting, hiring salespeople.
Cam, that is probably the number one question that we get from leaders around the world and all across the country is if you could help us recruit better, if you could help us hire the right individual and reduce a lot of that turnover and make sure we make the right hire right the first time. But you know what? There's no magic pill, Cam. There's no mystical way to make that proper decision. And the world where we live in, where half of the marriages that begin, 50% of them end in divorce, that's proof and evidence right there that human beings, it's a tough thing to do when we make relationship decisions, isn't it, Cam?
You're always vulnerable. People do interview well, and they show well. They come in and They say the right things, and they've researched the organization, and they're looking for a job there, and they say the right things. And there are college campuses, career counselors that teach students how to interview well. So they put on a great show, and I've heard these stories, and these employers are doing their best to uncover the true individual in there. Yet these people have been coached to interview quite well. And so to answer your question, sure, people interview well, and then somebody else comes out after the familiarity of the job settles in.
Oh, yes. And that therein lies the big issue in our personal relationships and in the workplace is people can put on a good face front initially, and then when the honeymoon is over, and the honeymoon happens in the workplace too, when that's over, then therein lies what we really get with somebody. So to answer your question, we also believe, and I'm gonna give you another phrase, Cam, because I believe we've sort of hit on a couple so far, but here's another one that we've learned through the years from a lot of smart people is that slow to hire, quick to fire.
Yeah, I've heard that one, but go ahead, expand on that for our conversation.
Yes, so we want to be quick to fish or cut baits. We want to be quick to cut the bait on the back end. But you know what? The reason we can make the right decision on the front end is there's a lot of tests out there. There's a lot of psychological and there's a lot of personality profile tests that are always advisable to utilize on the front end. Number one. And to really put the people through a very thorough recruiting and then hiring process. Okay. In other words, Coach Saban at Alabama football has done a great job. The reason he's put together a great program, and it doesn't matter what someone's favorite team is or not, we can respect the program. And the New England Patriots would be the same thing. They have won the recruiting war for the last decade or the last 20 years, and therefore the businesses that win the recruiting war are the ones that put the most rock solid teams in place. And our recommendation is always to not hire for skills. Skills are trainable. We can teach someone the skills of the job. The resume is fine. The skills are great, but we want to hire to character. We want to hire to culture. A cultural fit is way more important than the smartest kid in the room.
All right, I'm with you. How do you determine whether they're a cultural fit? Give me a specific thing that anybody listening can do to make this determination.
Well, the best thing to do would be to make the hiring process very thorough, and I would have an individual work in the business, shadow people doing the job, have the folks in the culture who are good culture fits get out of the office and go meet and hang out with an individual in their world just to see and ask a good group of questions, cluster a good group of questions to make sure that the person's a good cultural fit or not. The best way to know is by asking questions. Telling is not selling. He who asks the questions controls the conversations, okay? And so therefore, the only way to learn from someone is to ask them a good group of questions. And we get to help a lot of leaders formulate and design these questions when they're making these hires, and hopefully they can learn and improve in their hiring processes.
Now, let me, I understand what you're saying. And in fact, I've seen presentations on the importance of using the team to qualify a new hire. In other words, is he or she going to fit? Are they going to be a part of the culture here? And
Yes.
I've heard stories of, let's say the sales team spends time with this candidate and they come back and they say, this is not a good fit. And the boss goes ahead and hires them anyway. And it leads to ultimately an ambush there down the road as this individual has been hired against the best wishes of the majority of the team there. Does this work on a consistent basis?
Absolutely, Cam. We can, there's a lot of, the reason my niche of the business owner who likes sports and in church, how many sports teams do we learn where you got the best player in the world, the best player in the country goes to a locker room or joins a team, and next thing you know, they've quit or they've been pushed out, or it's just not a good fit. We hear that all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay, there's professional athletes who aren't on teams right now because they were selfish or they just were not a good fit. Well, in business and in the workplace, it's the same dynamic. And so when we can help a company or a business owner or a sales manager create a culture of accountability. So accountability is probably the number one reason we get hired, and the number one reason folks really embrace what we do for them through our one-on-one coaching relationships. And it's one-on-one for a reason, because one-on-one is where life change happens, not in groups. It's one-on-one relationships where we have heart-to-hearts. That's where life change and the most important decisions in life happen, when it's one-on-one. Okay? And so therefore, through this accountability, when a company can create a culture of accountability, what it does, and we help them understand this, it creates a self-ejecting culture. Self-ejecting.
Self-ejecting. In other words, I don't fit here, I'm going to move along.
Yes, because Cam, if you and I are, I love this. Just this week in outside of Dallas, Texas, I was in two separate offices, and at some point in this workshop, the question came up, and it had accountability. Okay, it had habits. Habits is what it causes our success, or it causes our downfall. Our personal habits in life is what really promotes and elevates us. Our habits either serve us or sabotage us.
Let me interrupt you real quick, Jeff. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. On the line with me is Jeff Brinson. Jeff is with Southwestern Consulting. He's a professional sales coach. Jeff, do you teach people the habits to have, or can you instruct people on which habits to have? Does that get too personal?
Heck no. The habits that we talk about here, and number one, matter of fact, we share with people what are the top 3 habits of top producers around the country, around the world. What are the top 3 habits? Now, there's many character traits. There's many variables, Cam, that go into the makeup of a human being. But what are the top 3 habits? And it's through our studies of and interviews of hundreds of thousands of individuals, remember, for 160 years now. Those top 3 habits are these. Number one top habit of top producers and world changers is that we don't make excuses. We figure it out. We go up, over, and around. It's a mindset.
All
discipline.
Right. Number one, no excuses. Keep going.
No excuses. Number 2 is we are students of the game. We always are learning. We keep learning. It never ends. Top producers keep reading, keep listening to podcasts, keep listening to shows like your show, Cam. They're going to seminars, they're reading books, they're hiring coaches. They're always learning. Matter of fact, Jim Rohn said it best. A college education will get a man or woman a job in life, but it's a self-education that'll make them a fortune.
All right. I like that guy.
And then number 3. So we got no excuses, students of the game, we're always learning. And number 3 is we take action. Top producers are very decisive. They take action. It's not always the right decisions that world changers and top producers make, but you know what? Top producers do take action. They don't straddle the fence. And if it's a wrong decision, well, we course correct, and then we take another action.
So you're working with, let's go back to the sales manager again. And you're looking at the sales manager going, these are the 3 characteristics. But as a sales manager, it means you've got to give space for people to make mistakes. Because if they're going to take action and it's the wrong action, your reaction sales manager can't be of blame and of shame and of reprimand. It's got to say, hey, you want them to take action. It was the wrong one, but any action is better than no action. Is that a lesson that sales managers got to get through?
Absolutely. The biggest problem with sales managers and business owners isn't the fact that people make bad decisions. It's the fact that people procrastinate. It's the fact that people don't take action at all.
So you'd rather see people failing with action than being afraid of any action?
Oh, heck yes. Let me look. I'm looking at in my library in my home office right now, and there's a wonderful book here called Failing Forward.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
Oh, yeah. By John Maxwell. He's a pretty smart guy.
Yeah.
And Failing Forward. So, yeah, Coach Bobby Bowden, legendary college football coach Bobby Bowden, he said it best. He goes, hey, guys, quit attacking me and my team about all of our penalties. I would rather my guys on my football team make aggressive penalties, and Coach Saban would too, by the way, and Coach Malzahn at Auburn would too. I would rather my guys make aggressive penalties such as pass interference or pulling of the face mask, those aggressive type penalties, because those guys are hustling. They're making things happen, and we can correct that versus the undisciplined mistakes of jumping off sides or being lazy or not thinking things through. The same as happens in the world of business. There's a lot of employees that just sit in their cubicles, they sit in their offices, they sit in their cars, they don't pick up the phone, they don't knock on doors, they're not taking action. And Zig Ziglar said it 30 years ago, you got to circulate to percolate.
Oh, man. The rhyming couplets, they're going to last forever. They're going to last forever. We got 1 minute, Jeff, and this is an unfair question to ask with 1 minute. What's technology doing to all this?
Oh, technology just skyrockets all this because we can broadcast our message of who we are and what we're doing to more people, can't we?
Yeah, but I'm not sure it's effective.
Well, it either works to good or it works to bad. Okay. And so what technology does to all this, I was sitting with having coffee with a technology expert about a year ago, and he's the owner of a local social media company. So he's the social media guru. And I asked this owner of this social media company if what we were doing in this moment, shaking hands and having coffee face to face, will anything ever take the place of that one-on-one human interaction? And his answer was, no, it will not.
I agree. It will not. It happens less frequently, and it becomes more and more precious. Jeff, we're running to the end of the time. I'm sure there's somebody out there saying, man, I kind of like to meet this guy. How do people find you, bud?
Man, I would love to meet so many people on the Gulf Coast and the surrounding area. Well, you can reach me by telephone or text at area code 251-656-7892, or by email, JBrinson, BRINSON, at southwestern.com.
Southwestern.
Or any social media outlet. I'm on LinkedIn, Jeff Brinson, Facebook, Instagram, Jeff Brinson. You got it. Southwestern Coaching.
Southwesternconsulting.com or southwesterncoaching.com?
Either one. Either one work.
Listen, I'll also put your contact information in the show notes for the podcast. If anybody wants to forward this on, go to cammarston.com. The podcast link is across the top of the page. Click on that. You can hear the show again, forward it on to people, as well as see Jeff's contact info. Jeff, thank you so much for your time. This has been great. You've actually kind of stirred me up a little bit to go do something.
Hey, Cam, take action, man. Come on. No. Hey, listen, it truly is my pleasure. It is my honor to be on with you, Cam. So thank you for your show. Thank you for the time, and thank you for what you do.
Yeah, pleasure's all mine, man. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston, brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. We'll be right back. Looking for motivation or a push in your job search? Not sure where to begin? Coastal Alabama Community College is here to help. They work in conjunction with the Alabama Ready to Work program and offer a free, yes, free, basic job training program for all Alabama residents not currently enrolled in school. Ready to Work teaches the entry-level skills businesses and industry leaders are looking for. Lessons include resume writing, interview techniques, computer skills, problem solving, time management, and workplace ethics. Upon completion of the program, students are eligible for 2 certificates, which will look great to future employers. Again, if you're looking for lessons on how to get started in your entry-level job search, visit Coastal Alabama Community College's website at coastalalabama.edu or visit any one of their campuses. We'll be right back.
Is your business growing? Does your existing metal building need an update? Expansion? New roof? With almost 20 years of experience, Mosley Building Systems is the leading metal building contractor along the Gulf Coast. We are your local design build experts. From expansion to new construction or repairs, we can guide you through all aspects of your project. Mosley Building Systems works with each client to fulfill their vision. For more information, go to mosleybuildingsystems.com.
Coastal Alabama Community College is 3 amazing colleges combined into one incredible institution. And that means we're all together. For more sports, 15 more locations, more friends, more one-on-one time with instructors, way more activities, more courses, a lot more courses, and more success for all of us. Pretty much more of everything. Coastal Alabama Community College is where everyone is. All together! Coastal Alabama Community College. Register today.
Investing, connecting, leading, providing. The Community Foundation of South Alabama brings together philanthropic assets to make Southwest Alabama a better place to live, work, and play. We link donors to philanthropy. Working with you, we build communities. Contact us at communityfoundationsa.org.
I want to thank Jeff Brinson. It was wonderful to catch up with him. He and I were buddies from back in the day, and to hear him doing so well is thrilling. One of the things that stands out in what Jeff said is something that has stood out now over the 18 months that I've been doing this show that keeps coming up, and that's the attitude and the character of the people that people are trying to find and trying to hire. Jeff said, find the attitude, we'll train the skills. Matt Armbruster several weeks ago with Ransom Ministries, when he has these employers come in and talk to these people that he's rehabilitating, the employer said this to them: we need people of character. We'll teach you what we need to do. We'll teach you what you need to know, but we need people of character. Jeff said it. We need people with character and integrity and ambition. The skills, I'm again surprised at how unimportant the skills are in the people that tend to do well. It's attitude and integrity and character. And there's one other thing that came out here, and turned on by Jeff. He was such motivational, and that's the word. For years in the public speaking business, I've heard him predict the end of the motivational speaker. We'll no longer have motivational speakers. I had the CEO of a speakers bureau in Washington, D.C. say, Cam, the motivational speaking business is over. It's not. It's not anywhere close to over. You find somebody like Jeff who talks with a little energy and motivation, and it spreads, baby. It spreads. And in a short amount of time with Jeff on the phone, he's pumped me up, and I can see, like I told him, why he's so good. We'll have another show for you next week, folks. I want to thank John Thompson. He's the producer of this show. His company is Ion Digital. I want to thank Kristen Ogden for organizing this interview and getting us all on the same page. Have a good week, folks. Have a good week.